Hey everybody, how's it going? Today we're going to be going over the Roadmaster Smart Diode wiring kit. So there's many different types of the wiring kits that you can use to successfully transfer the signals from the motorhome to the vehicle. This certainly isn't the only one, but this is sort of going to fall under the classification as a diode wiring kit. Now some of the other options are going to be a bulb and socket kit. So a diode wiring kit is going to be pretty much splicing into the factory wiring with sort of a module in between to help protect everything. A bulb and socket kit, we're actually going to be drilling into the taillight housing and installing an extra bulb. I really don't like these. There's not a lot of room for air with those in regards to your drilling, and they can also lead to leaks, possibly damage the taillight housing. So they're definitely not my favorite. And some of the other options, I'm sure you guys have all seen these before, especially if you flat towed or just seen others flat towing on the road. They're pretty common. And that's going to be a simple magnetic set of lights that just sit on the hood of the vehicle. Then you run a wire over the roof into the motorhome. And those do work, but they're usually not the greatest option. You have to deal with the scratching of the paint with the magnet. That's a big issue for those. And they're also kind of unsightly because we're going to be routing that wire over the roof. So definitely not a permanent thing. If this is a vehicle that you're going to be flat towing consistently, you're really going to want to look into the other two options, whether that be the bulb and socket or the diode. But as we said, there's some issues with the bulb and socket that I don't really like. The diode wiring kits are really the best option. This particular kit in here is a really great option as well. So Roadmaster actually offers a couple different kinds of diodes. Now, some of the older kits, they just come with the standard diodes, and those work great for a lot of vehicles, but as technology is progressing in these vehicles, the taillight circuits are more complex. For this particular vehicle here, it has what's known as a variable voltage taillight circuit. Therefore, all of our signals are actually sent on one wire. Therefore, the tail, the stop and turn for each side is sent on one wire. And how the vehicle deciphers that is, it sends a variable voltage depending on which circuit that is. That way the tail light and the computer knows which one to illuminate. Now, this is great technology. You know, it cuts down on the amount of wires. It's a little bit more seamless, but the older diodes weren't able to recognize that. With the smart diodes here, it's going to be able to pick up on those variable voltage, letting us know which circuit needs to be activated so we don't have any issues here with our kit. So in regards to the actual smart diodes, we have two different options. You have a kit that just comes with the wiring and the diodes, everything you need to pretty much set it up, for the exception of a trailer connector umbilical cord. Now, if you already have a tow bar that has one of these built in, or you're just simply reusing one from an old setup, that's probably the kit you're going to want to go with. But if this is a completely new installation, you don't have any of the other parts, you're going to want to opt for the kit that comes with the umbilical cord as well as the trailer connector. It's more of a complete kit and going to be geared more for you guys that are setting up your vehicle to flat tow for the first time. But again, there is options depending on what we need, so we don't have extra parts we're not going to be using. So this particular kit here is going to provide us with the most basic signals we need to remain legal, and that's going to be the stop and turn signal circuits for both the driver and passenger side, as well as the taillight circuits for both sides as well. So it's going to have all the basic functions we need to remain legal driving out on the road. So if you opt for the kit that comes with the umbilical cord and the trailer connector, this is going to allow us for extra circuits. So a lot of times vehicles require a charge line, which is basically a power wire run from the motorhome's battery to the vehicle's battery. This allows us to charge the vehicle's battery. That way, when we get done flat towing, we don't have a dead battery when we go to head in town. Now, this particular kit doesn't actually come with that charge line, but it does allow you to run this through the umbilical cord using the extra slots in the 6-way connector, which gets mounted on the vehicle. And then we have a nice sturdy umbilical cord here. This is very durable. They last a long time. These are really my favorite umbilical cords on the market. This particular option here is coiled as well. That way you don't have to worry about it dragging the ground. As you can see, we have a tow bar here without any guides or anything. So that coiled connection there really helps it keep it tight to the bottom of the tow bar so we don't have any sagging, possibly damaging the cord. So in regards to kit components, regardless if we get it with or without the cord, we're going to get pretty much everything we need to set up the vehicle side. And that's going to be the wiring harness that runs from the front of the vehicle to the rear with the taillights, our two diodes, and then all of our miscellaneous wire connectors that we're going to need to make these connections. You will, however, need a crimping tool, possibly a wire stripping tool, and we have some cost-effective options here at eTrailer if you'd like to pick up one along with your kit. So the real workhorse here of this kit is going to be the actual diodes themselves. Obviously, we have the wires that are going to be carrying our circuits, but the diodes, they really serve an important role. And what these things really do is they're going to work to separate the vehicle from the motorhome and the motorhome from the vehicle. Now, the reason that's important is, let's say we have an issue with the wiring on the vehicle, could potentially short out the vehicle's taillights, and then if everything's connected without a diode, that same electrical short is going to transfer to the motorhome and possibly affect those lights as well. And we certainly don't want that happening. What that diode does is it's going to prevent that electricity from backfeeding from one side to the other. Therefore, if there's an issue with our vehicle here, it's not going to affect the lights on our motorhome and vice versa. If we have an issue with the motorhome, the diodes are going to stop that electricity from flowing to the vehicle and preventing any issues here as well. So overall, it's just more or less a safeguard. So in regards to installation, this one really isn't that bad at all. The bulk of the installation is going to be running the wire from the front to the rear, so it is going to take you a little bit of time, but I wouldn't say anything is particularly challenging. You guys should be able to get this done in a few hours. We only have to make one splice here on either side into the actual vehicle, and I know a lot of people don't like to do that, but it is very minor. It could easily be reversed, and again, it's only one splice per side. And that's going to do it today for our look at the Roadmaster Smart Diode Wiring Kit.